What kind of money are you making, Joe?
Low income.
Explain what Bitcoin mining is.
It's being paid small amounts of Bitcoin for completing tasks.
I'm already bored of what you're saying. What is your favorite non-pornographic magazine to masturbate to?
I like to try different things.
What?
I don't know if you want to do that, but yeah.
Everyone was banging everyone's mom.
Oh, 100%. People don't realize that.
Why do you think Porsche is the best car company in the world?
I have no clue.
What? So you really like coding. You enjoy it. You get code boners.
I do.
$50,000 to build a website?
Yeah, 100%. People are stupid, dude.
Besides building muscle, I think you're great at everything.
Really bad on camera. I don't know how to edit.
I agree. No one will pay you to see your wiener.
Your mom.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Don't Be Sour, the tallest podcast in the world. Big number episode 14 with the long-awaited guest, an actual giraffe. Amazing we got him in here. Joe Boppity-Boopy, otherwise known as Joe Knows Best. What's up, dude?
What's up? I don't think I'm that tall, but okay.
You excited to be on here?
Yeah.
A lot of people have been asking you to come on here, and we've held off because Joe's biggest fear was having the lowest view podcast. So we wanted to make sure that he went on around people who maybe had lower views than other people. Didn't want to go on with someone who was like really, really popular.
Yeah, but because of that fear, it's going to happen. You're going to title it something bad and it's going to get no views and I'm never going to hear the end of it.
Do you think this is going to be, how do you think the views are going to be on this?
I have no clue. I would like to say good, but it comes down to the thumbnail and title, you know?
Okay, Joe, what do you think we should title this? What do you think, if you were clickbaiting you to watch you, what would you call the video? What would title this?
I have no clue.
What's like a catchy thing?
I mean, if it's clickbait, we're going like deaths, you know, someone's got to die.
Okay.
Politics. Shawley went the OnlyFans route. That didn't work out too well, but you know. Yeah.
Interviewing someone who hates the government.
That would probably do well.
You think?
Yeah. Forgot the guy's name, but yeah. No, yeah.
There's a lot of guys in government.
No, the Snowden guy.
Snowden?
Yeah.
Is that like a whistleblower guy?
Yeah. There's nothing to do with me though. This doesn't, you know.
Joe is a whistleblower.
Yes. There you go.
Joe, welcome to the podcast, dude. Tell the people a little bit about you, who you are. If the scenario is you're in an Uber going to a leaf eating convention center or something, and the guy's like, "Hey, what do you do?"
Well, I was born on the Serengeti, and I lived most of my life there. No, I'm professionally, I would say I'm a software developer. That's where I do all of the money stuff. And then I also happen to have a automotive-focused YouTube channel. I've done video editing and weddings and stuff when I was in like high school, and then that turned into a YouTube channel. I used to help Christian a long time ago. That's how I met you, actually. We met through Christian. And yeah, I would say I'm like a part-time YouTuber, full-time software guy.
That's what you would tell like a random person?
Probably, yeah. I don't tell people I do YouTube. If I met someone in Uber, I would never say I have a YouTube channel.
Doesn't
even come up.
YouTube's like the hype thing now.
It is, but that's why I don't like it. It was cool when no one did it. Now everyone does it, and I don't want to do it anymore.
So you're like the hipster of YouTube. You like it?
Yeah, I did it before it was cool. Now I'm good. So
if you don't know, you're in for a real treat this episode, because I think this will be very different than most of our stuff, because a lot of times I'm asking a lot of questions. I'm very interested in learning about the person. I'm not really interested in learning about you because I know everything about you. Okay, we're going to discuss topics and we're going to give people an insight into the brain of someone who just hates everything.
I don't know if you want to do that, but yeah.
Joe's a no bar holds, doesn't hold anything. But I don't know what the phrases are, man.
No, it gets me in trouble. I would like to think I'm a young Larry David.
A young Larry. That's like
pretty
cool.
Yeah.
So we go way back. Joe's one of my best friends. Me and Joe hang out on a regular basis. Tell people kind of how we met.
Actually, I hated Max when I met him. I was at the time, me and Christian had just kind of met, and I was filming weddings and stuff. A mutual friend put us in contact and was like, "Hey, this guy does YouTube," which I didn't even know you could make money on YouTube at the time. Maybe you can help him edit a video. And I think I did like one YouTube video and this like weird glitchy promo ad or something. And he was like, "Hey, my friend Max is in town, and Max has a brand too. Like, you can come film us do a workout." And then I went to like help film the workout and also hang out and work out. And then like Max out of nowhere was like, "Hey, can you film a promo for me?" And I'm like, "Okay."
You were there, dude.
Yeah, I know. But I'm like, all right, I guess I can help this guy out. And like at the time didn't understand the humor and all that. And like, yeah. And then I think for like 3 months after, like once a week, I get like a random message from this Max tuning asshole that's like, "Hey, where's that promo video?" And I'm like, I don't know
you're leaving out details. I just say, "Hey, dude, can you help me film a little promo?" Joe, yeah, absolutely, sure. And then just week goes by, another week goes by. I have, I'm like, oh, these are gonna be the promos for my launch of something. No communication. Joe's like, I'm gonna get it to you. Ends up just sending me one promo, and then he just sends me all the files, the other ones, and essentially like make it together.
Pretty much, yeah. That's how it happened. And then somehow or another, you came in town like 3 more times, and by like the 3rd time, it was like, fuck this Christian guy. Like me and Max are just gonna hang out, and Christian can go hang out upstairs by himself.
Well, to be honest, it's because when you said you would do something and you didn't do it, I was like, this guy is a doucher. And then it turns out you're not a doucher. And then randomly, I was like, Joe, what is your favorite non-pornographic magazine to masturbate to?
Good Housekeeping.
Good Housekeeping. And from there, it's been smooth sailing.
It has.
So why do you think we created such a strong bond?
I would say, so I am from, I think we're all from the same generation. That doesn't make any sense. But I am from the like Call of Duty warfare lobby insanity. Like me and my friend group talk more shit to each other. We can curse on this, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Say a bad word.
Penis. Fuck. Pussy. Cunt. Anyway, me and my friends talked more shit to each other than like anybody. Like we were straight up playing Call of Duty every night, just saying some outlandish shit. Well, then I got involved with like, I made a new friend group, and I have Christian and all these guys, and they're very like low key, everyone's got to promote each other all the time, which is fine, but like you don't say anything bad to anybody. Like everyone's always got positivity is what it is, right? And then I met Max. I think Max is from that same kind of like background. So Max was the first person that I could like fuck with and say stupid ass shit, and like he would hit me right back with it, and I'm like, oh, this is good.
Joe, you don't have to talk into the camera the entire time.
I'm looking. This is weird. I was on Charlie's podcast, and the camera's in front of my face.
If you're making a point, you can talk into the camera.
Right.
Okay, I'm your person you're talking to.
Fair enough.
I like how you brought up the Modern Warfare 2, because a lot of people don't understand the Modern Warfare 2 lobby era. If you made it through that, you can make it through anything.
Insane. That and even school, even middle school and stuff. Like the shit that happened to me in middle school is insane compared to like nowadays. People are like, oh, I got bullied a little bit. Like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, no.
We're getting choked out and like actually passed out in the hallway and stuff. Like shit went down.
Yeah, it's in the Modern Warfare lobbies. Everyone was having sex with my mom.
Oh, 100%.
Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone was banging everyone's mom.
She got around a little bit. She came to Houston a couple times.
And I like how no, she did. She's a nice lady. Dorothy Mantooth is a saint. And you bring up a good point about, I wouldn't say the softness of maybe some of the people here, but is like Christian and Shawley, their types of jokes are like, hey Joe, your shoe's untied. Oh
yeah.
No, it's not. And we're like, dude, you're the ugliest piece of shit I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, like I would never walk into like the house and be like, what's up, pussy, to Christian? Like that wouldn't happen. And it's funny, like the more we start hanging out,
I have a penis.
The more we start hanging out, like then Christian would like randomly Christian would come and be like, what's up, pussy? And I'm just like, I don't know if you can do that, dude. It's not right.
What did you say?
Yeah, like, wait, what?
What did you say? And yeah, okay, yes. And Joe was, I tell the story all the time about how I didn't really enjoy Christian's content when I first found him on YouTube because he was too like PG and nice. And I'm like, oh, that's just who he is. And weirdly enough, our yin and yang mesh and we get along super well. But you were the first person that I met here in Houston that had the same derogatory like humor that my friend group had in Virginia. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna get along great with this. I call you the Texas Pat, my friend Pat.
I never met Pat.
And Pat is the Virginia Joe.
Probably really like the guy. We should hang out
Both
sometime.
of you guys are just like hitting door frames on a regular basis when you walk in.
We just cut you out. Me and him would be best friends and you're gone.
Yeah.
That's it.
So we like hit it off and then continue our love story, Joe.
I think that's about it, you know?
No, we lived together.
We did move in together, but I don't think like anything really changed from that point. I think we were like, hey, this is cool. And then when I lived at Christian's and Christian had Heidi move in, and that was just kind of like a, hey, get the fuck out thing. Like they didn't tell me to get out, but it was like, I'm not gonna be the third wheel here. It's kind of weird. So I ended up moving 2 houses down, and Max was like, I'm moving to Houston. It was like, perfect. So we lived together for 2 years.
Yeah.
I think, give or take. Yeah. Now we're still good friends.
Yeah. And I mean, do you know one of the greatest things that ever happened while we lived together? You know what came out of that house?
There was a shooting.
Why don't you tell the story about the shooting?
I don't know all the details about the shooting, but
I was in Virginia at the time.
Me and my girlfriend were downstairs. We hear what sounds like birds flying into the window. And Becca's like, oh, it's birds flying in the window. She goes and takes a shower. I open the window and I just see this dude running across. There's a hotel behind our house. It's this dude sprinting across the back of the hotel and like 30 cops with like assault rifles. And he jumped in the lake and tried to swim to the house.
No, but he's handcuffed.
Oh yeah. They caught him. They handcuffed him. They have like this, he's, I don't know, probably like a 6'5" dude. And they put this tiny little 5-foot chick cop holding him. And I'm even like across the lake. I'm like, that doesn't seem like a good idea. And he like kicked her and jumped in the lake and started swimming with his hands behind his back. Like
I don't know what
around.
your strategy is to try to get away in a lake with your hands
I
tied
have no
behind
clue,
your back.
but me, like Becca's in the bathroom. I'm like, I'm going to get the gun. I grab my gun. I'm like, I don't know what my thought process is. I'm like, if he comes across the lake, like I'm going to get him. It turns out he killed his girlfriend in the parking lot and then had a shootout with cops. And the noises we were hearing was bullets hitting the brick. And the cops had to come actually like walk around our house. And I like text Max. I'm like, dude, there's bullet holes in the house. And they shot the brick wall like 6 times. They didn't hit anything else. That was probably the coolest thing that happened when we lived there. I mean, not cool for that, but like, you know.
Yeah, Joe texted me and he's just like, hey, there's a shooting at the hotel across the lake.
Yeah, and nothing happens in Sugar Land. Like nothing in the history of Sugar Land has ever gone wrong. So when something does go down, I mean, like 800 cops. Like every cop for a 10-mile radius was.
Joe, there was a murder. I think it
but that's
was
the
justified.
first time anything has ever happened in Sugar Land. Like that's not a normal thing. You go to Houston, that's every day. But like in Sugar Land, it's a little.
Yeah, in Sugar Land, the craziest thing that happens is like the HOA at our place is like they've had Amazon packages on their doorstep for more than 2 days. I'm going to take a picture, put it in the mail it to them, and then they have 30 days to get that package off the doorstep.
Yep.
Stupidest thing ever.
Does
but
happen.
The big thing that came out of that house is Joe is actually one of he's the reason that Sour Strips was created. You created the design of it.
Yeah. Did all the logos? I think even the Angry Candy, I want to say I was like
I think it was like your idea.
And I found the first guy on 99 Designs or something.
Yes,
and
so similar to the whole like, hey Joe, I need that footage. I was like, Joe, like you'll help me with like design this candy brand, right? Like, because Joe's a graphic guy, and he's like,
I'm not.
He's like, yeah,
well, I just happen to know how to do some stuff.
He knows how to do everything, and I remember like once found the manufacturer, found the name. I was like, Joe, we got to create this candy bag. And you're like, yeah, okay. Like I'm gonna keep playing. If you didn't know, Joe's also a grandmaster at League of Legends, so he was just die hard at that. And eventually we got around to making the bags, and I didn't know the idea that I wanted behind it. I knew I wanted it kind of edgy, and then Joe, I wish I had documented a little bit more of this, but I think you were like you should make like these like angry fruit characters on there.
I think for the most part, the first bag and design, and for a long time that was a bag. I mean, now it's changed a little bit, but yeah, that was always cool though. I mean, even to this day, when I walk into like Target and I see it, I'm like, oh, like I did some of that.
It was a big collaborative like project. I didn't know how to create the designs, everything, but Joe definitely had like a huge contribution in the direction that Sour Strips ended up going. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no worries. It was great. It was wonderful.
You get Sour Strips for life for that.
I do. I'll eat a lot of them. It's great.
And I mean, so designing all this stuff, so you're like great at. I've always said that you're.
Build me up here, dude. Come on.
No. Okay, I am gonna hype you up, but I'm gonna shoot you down at the same time. I think you're, besides building muscle, I think you're like great at everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can snowboard really well, dirt bike really well, code websites, install anything technology, run interwebs.
Do the whole thing.
He can run the internet.
Yeah. I've found few things that I suck at.
How are you so good at everything?
Don't know. I also don't know. I'm like freakishly coordinated for how tall I am. Like I can do backflips. Sometimes I fall on my face, but I attempt to do backflips.
Yeah, and even we literally went to Top Golf, and Joe is just out of nowhere. He's like, I've never really hit a golf ball, and it's hitting the net every single time.
Just good at some stuff.
Were you like always like did you just like as you grew up, like what's your background? Did you put your hands into a little bit of everything?
Yeah. No, I was pretty nerdy. Like elementary school, I was pretty nerdy.
You're still nerdy.
Yeah, no, but I was like nerdy. Like you didn't want to hang out with me. Like I was a weird,
what were you doing?
Weird kid. I mean, no, I was just like I didn't grow into my physique until like high school. So like elementary me, like I had buck teeth, huge ears, like oddly shapen. I was kind of tall. Like the other thing I was way too tall for my age.
You're still too tall for your age.
No. But like people thought I was like mentally challenged because they thought I was a lot older than I was. So like we'd be at like a grocery store and people thought I was like 7, but I'd be like 4. So then people thought I was like actually like something wrong with me. So like my mom tells me all the time, like, people thought you were like, special.
Okay.
Yeah. So elementary school was not a great time. So I really nothing. As far as like athleticism and stuff, like I didn't start playing basketball till middle school. I didn't start snowboarding till, I really didn't do anything as a kid. I rode dirt bikes. That was about it.
Okay, so you were like made fun of your entire life, and
yeah, mostly.
And now you're just like you're proficient at most things.
Most things, yeah.
You were the guy.
But also though, I grew up like out in the country a little bit, so we did a bunch of random stuff. So while I wasn't playing football and stuff, like we were always randomly dirt biking and walking through the forest and building stuff. And
could you start a fire?
We tried. No, it's really hard. The whole like spin the stick, it's a lot harder than you think it is.
No, okay,
like flint, yeah.
So if you were stranded on an island, you would go straight to the logs spinning.
Yeah.
I think
You're not going to find the 2 rock to spark thing. Because that's like 2 special rocks. Where are you going to find those rocks? No. You can't just take 2 random rocks and start smacking them together. I was watching a show
and we had the conversation of like, if I'm stranded on an island, I think I could survive because you take 2 rocks, Joe, and you...
This is a wonderful idea for a YouTube video. I will pay you $1,000 if you can get 2 rocks and start a fire.
So you think 2 sticks can start a fire easier than 2 rocks?
I think the 2 like flint rocks, yeah, but 2 random. We can go outside right now and find 2 rocks.
You get a little bushel of leaves.
No, you don't.
And you take the rocks and you go like this.
Let's go. We'll go find 2 rocks right now.
Joe, if you would die on an island because you'd be sitting there.
Okay. All right. Someone's gonna comment and be like, he's definitely right on this one.
No, I know what I'm doing.
But it has to be 2 random rocks.
Just any rocks.
No. No.
You don't think so?
No. I mean, you have 2 like cement coasters out that you start a fire with those.
No, because they're not rocks, Joe.
What kind of rock?
The hard kinds that spark when you hit them together.
You're not doing it. But I would love to find out. We'll do a whole video series on this. There's no way. I've always thought it'd be fun to do like me, you, Christian, and Shali, and we go to like one of these like national parks, and everyone gets a vlogging camera, and just whoever makes it the longest, or teams of 2, like whoever gets the furthest in one day, like whoever has the best shelter and fire and stuff after a day wins.
I would easily win.
Well, it depends what team. If you're on my team, you win.
Because you're good at everything.
Maybe.
So since you're kind of you dabble in everything, how do you make your money, Joe?
Majority of my income is from the software side. So, Fourth Phase, which is a software company, which now I have another one that I'm partnering with somebody on. But majority of it is from building apps, websites, Shopify stores for a lot of our friend group, and now random companies outside of our friend group.
That's how you make the most of your money?
Yeah, majority. I mean, little investments here and there. Aliana thing. There's a commercial real estate thing that we had some money in.
What kind of money are you making, Joe?
Is that the first thing that comes up? I don't know.
This is one thing I like to do on the Potter. It's
less than the other people that are on here. I mean, if I was just
if you had a ballpark
cannon, I think last year, like tax return wise, like in the 3s.
Okay.
Somewhere around there. And I have people all the time that are like, because of my cars.
We're going to get into that.
All the time. They're like, oh, like you're, technically if you like talk to a financial guru, it's supposed to be 10% of what you make goes into a car payment. Like that's the most you can spend on a car.
Says who?
It's like a rule of thumb. It's like 10% of your gross income a month you can put into a car payment. So if you're making $100,000 a month or $100,000 a year, you should only be putting, was that 8,000? So $800 a month into a car payment or something like that. But for me, it's way higher. There's times I spend like 30% of my income on cars, 40% of my income on cars, but the cars I'm buying go up in value. So I feel like it's, people think, I think people think I make a lot more money than I do because of the cars that I have, but like the cars I'm buying are more of investments than they are like just blowing money.
You made $300,000 last year?
I think last year, yeah.
That's sick.
It was a good year, yeah.
I've never actually known how much money you make.
Yeah.
I knew you're doing well.
It's all over the place. I think technically last year, because there's a bunch of random stuff though. It's like from all over even YouTube, I don't really make a whole lot of YouTube videos, and like I still probably like $2,000 to $3,000 a month on YouTube.
You think you're gonna beat 300,000 this year?
I hope.
I mean, we're 8 months into the year, Joe. I think you should know.
Yeah. See, I look at it like what's in the account more than I do like the tax returns. Like my tax return looks great, but then like I bought the house, I bought a car, I bought this and that. Like my hot tub that we were talking about the other day, I spend a lot of money too. Like I made good money, but I spend a lot.
To be honest, that's actually a good way to look at it, because I look at like my bank account this year and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
But I look at like I think this year I will definitely make a lot more money than I did last year. But I look at my accounts and I'm like, where is it? Where's all the money?
The fun part about owning a company is like people are like, oh, you're making so much money. It's like, no, not after I spend all of it. Like,
oh no,
I may make $10 million a year, but I actually made $300,000 profit. So it's like, it's a whole.
Did you know that I'm going to say something? This is a kind of boost my own ego. I think 2 months ago, Sour Strips made $1.4 million in a month,
which is insane.
Outside of a launch. There's no launch. That's just a normal month. Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I also, because I get my P&L, that's a profit and loss statements, by the way. I get them every month from my bookkeeper because I'm financially responsible.
Who's your bookkeeper?
Someone in Rhode Island.
Nice. The best people in Rhode Island.
They do it, man. I made $1.4 million. I spent $1.4 million.
Yeah, okay, but look,
I think I actually lost $20,000.
No one will see that though. If you say you made $1.4 million, everyone immediately is like, why is it so expensive? It can be cheaper. You don't need to make that kind of money. Like, you don't deserve to have that kind of money. But like, they don't realize like the stress and the headache and everything else. And you actually walked away with $100,000. Like,
yeah, no, I lost money that month. I think I was negative 20. I actually lost money in not ideal.
That's the whole like societal thing right now is a lot of, if you make a lot of money, it's like, oh, fuck, this guy makes too much money. But like, really, not really. Some people do, but
I've learned so a lot of people are uncomfortable with talking about money, whether it be how much they make. I ask, why do you think people are uncomfortable saying how much they make? Besides, I think the obvious of like, I don't think the worry of someone's going to try to like kidnap me because they know how much money I make.
I think for me, my hesitation's like, I think like socially, I don't want people knowing that. I don't think, not because I'm like, oh, I want people to think I make a lot more than I do. I just don't. I do a lot of like recently, if I'm driving down the road and I see like a homeless person or something, like it like mentally does hit me a little bit where I'm like, did I really need to spend that much money on a car? Like there's people that really need help. And I'm like, so a little bit of that.
That's the nicest thing I've ever heard you say.
I know it's starting to, maybe I'm turning a little bit, but I just don't like the idea that someone, and again, it's like it's in and out. So I don't think just because someone makes 300,000, someone makes 30,000, I don't think that really makes a difference depending on what you're doing.
Do you think sometimes it's, you want people to, not like you need to flex, but like you want to like, not like let everyone know that you're doing well, but it's like a reminder of like, hey, people should know that I'm successful.
I think for me, that's the cars.
Yeah.
I think my car is like, that's because outside of the car, you would never know. I wear like, random t-shirts and stuff, but the cars, that's where I'm like, that's the one thing that I'm like, I'll show off a little bit. Like I'll have a bright blue Porsche for,
well, you can't hide that. Like if
no, but no one still knows. I mean, no one has any idea. I mean, I guess they think, but I don't know. I think that part. And then also just like working with other people. I don't want people knowing if I send you an invoice for something, and you know how much money I make every year, you're probably like, he's overcharging. Like we should dial that back. Like I've noticed people don't want to pay you if they think you're making money. If I show up to someone's like, let's say I'm building.
No, I don't think you should invoice me because you're my friend, and I'm like, why are you charging me money?
But if I'm like, if I show up to a website, you're having me quote out your website, and I pull up in a $300,000 car, you're probably first thing you're thinking is like, this guy's overcharging the shit out of people. No one,
Yeah.
So I'd rather people not know. So then it's like, oh, when I send you an invoice, like, oh yeah, actually that's how much it costs. Not he's making a bunch of money. Why does he actually need to make?
Yeah.
Mentally, that's where I go. I don't know if there's actually any.
I think there is some sort of like stigma of if someone's making a lot of money, they don't maybe like, oh, they shouldn't deserve to make even more money.
Yeah. Or what's it called? Like imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah.
Like when you don't think. I do that all the time with like, so I've been doing software development for so long that I would actually say that I'm probably the best software developer that I know. But I always feel like I don't. Like if someone asks me to do something and I'm like, my rate should be $400 to $500 an hour, depending on what I'm doing and how long I've been doing it. Yeah. But when I charge people that, I feel really bad. I'm always like, I shouldn't be charging that much. Like it's not really that much work. But
yeah.
Like, I should. That's the going rate. But in my head, I'm like, that's too much money. Like I could tone it back a little bit. Like I don't need that.
I mean, the same thing could be said on when I do brand deals with companies. It's only, let's call it a minute and a half promotion. It's a minute and a half of work. It's not a minute and a half, but like sometimes I'm like, wow, this is insane. The money that I'm making off of this minute and a half, and people see that, but you say, oh, I feel bad for charging this, but they don't see how many hours you've spent coding to get to the point where you can deliver this like level of quality. Same with me is like, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot that I literally for 3 years I worked a desk job and put out 4 videos a week and didn't have a social life for years and years and years to like build this up so that I have the ability to charge a company like this amount.
Within reason. The Stofers thing still pisses me off to this day, but I'm still salty about that, dude. We don't have to get into specifics, but just know that Max made an obscene amount of money to eat some mac and cheese, which that's my dream in life, was to get paid to eat mac and cheese, and homeboy figured it out. I'll never let that go.
So it turns out there's a lot of money in coding.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know that when you go on a website, there's the matrix behind it.
There's a lot of stuff back there.
And
people don't realize that.
There's HTML.
Yeah.
There's Dreamweaver.
There's not. That's not
there's JavaScript.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into it, and people don't realize that, and that's why I think some people get quotes. Everyone wants to start an app. One thing, we just went through a pandemic, right? And every brick and mortar store had to move to online. So that's probably why last year was so good for me, because I had a lot of clients that historically wouldn't pay for websites that all of a sudden had to pay for a website because they physically could not conduct themselves. Like, you could not run if you didn't have a website.
You got to go to the online.
So that worked out in my favor. Like, the whole pandemic thing really worked out for website stuff, like web development and stuff. But on the other end, it's like everyone has their own app now. Everyone wants their own app. Everyone wants to start the next big thing, and no one realizes how hard that is. So, people hit you up all the time and like, well, it's just clicking a button, just make it for me. You're pretty bad about it. When I used to do the Sour Shoes website, Max all the time would be like, it's just a button, just put it in there real quick. And I'd be like, well, it takes a couple hours. Like, no, it's a quick, they just drop it right there. And I'm like, no.
I just, in my head, I'm like, oh, I see you up there. Like, so when I lived with you, if you guys have ever seen Grandma's Boy, and you go into, what's his name? JP. And you would go in and JP's like in the zone listening to like techno music, like coding.
Does techno music scare you?
No, I just don't like techno. That was Joe. That was you, dude.
That wasn't me.
I've
never worn a black trench coat in my life.
Okay, guys, I want you to go on. Okay, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go on to Spotify, and I want you to type in Matt Lange Ripples.
Go hard at Matt Lange.
That album that Ripples is on, play that, and then just start clacking on a keyboard, and that was Joe.
Yeah, but that's anyone that works. If you haven't done that, do it. Like, if you're listening, coding is very repetitive, right? I do the same shit over and over and over again, so get the music to do the same shit over and over again, and it's just you go into like a little trance.
How did you get into nerd coding?
It's a long story, but I used to work at a car dealership as a salesman.
Give me the condensed version.
I think my headphones just cut out. I'm good. Mm-hmm. I worked as a used car salesman, and I sucked at being a salesman, so I decided I was going to make a website for the car dealership instead, and then I realized I was much better at that, and I started just making websites. That's the short of it.
Okay.
Literally had no clue.
Like, you love it? You like?
Yeah.
Are you like?
I've always been. I mean, even as like a little kid, like we didn't really have a computer. We had like a family computer, but it was a piece of shit, and we lived in a place where we couldn't have internet until like really. It wasn't until like maybe my freshman year of high school that I had fast enough internet to do anything, like play games or anything like that. So I think when I got it, I was like, holy shit, I've never had this before. So this is like a fast computer with internet was like the craziest thing. And then I started getting into like Dreamweaver at the time was like the, and you right click on a MySpace profile and change the background color and be like, oh, crazy. I hacked your shit. And it's like, yeah. And then that just kind of like progressed. And I started getting into video editing very heavily and software. So that's the other thing is like, I was doing video editing before it was cool.
You're the hipster of everything.
But like I was making car edits in like 2011, 2012 when like there was no automotive YouTube channels. Like I wish I would have known that YouTube would have done what it would have done because I could have been the biggest. I know, I'm not even lying. Because like I was making like cinematic stuff on YouTube 10 years before it became popular to do cinematic stuff on YouTube.
You were, so you showed me this video. You can maybe explain. I want to get back to the coding thing, but a little sidetrack is Joe showed me this thing, but before like slow motion existed,
we had to trick it.
Joe would show me these videos of him doing extreme slow motion on a trampoline when he's like 10, and you would edit these videos. So how did you make slow motion without slow motion?
Long story, but the plugin it's called Twixtor, and it basically just interpolates frames. So at the time we didn't have anything that could shoot faster than 30 frames per second. So it is a piece of software that would slow that down, and then it would artificially kind of create frames between them.
So you were slow-moing before slow-mo was slow-mo.
Well, I mean, you could slow-mo, but the cameras were like $20,000 to do it, and I had a little Canon T1i or whatever. So yeah, you had to trick it into it. This is a long time ago. People take it for granted now. You can like take your phone out and film 4K 120. Like that was a $100,000 camera 10 years ago.
Your comments of saying like I could be like the biggest YouTuber. You're essentially the guy that's like, I had the idea of Uber.
I'm like the uncle that could have been a pro football player. That's gonna be me when I'm older. Like,
I was benching 315 back in high school.
Yeah, 100%. Throw a football straight over those mountains.
So you really like coding. You enjoy it. You get code boners.
I do. That's what I've done the longest that I haven't gotten bored of. I get bored of everything else. Even making YouTube videos, I get to the point where I'm like, I'm kind of bored of this. But I've never gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't want to write code anymore. Maybe I will eventually, but at the moment, I'm like.
Do you think what do you enjoy about coding? I mean, besides like that, you're really good at it. That's like your thing. Maybe people go
that.
to you.
I think it was really easy for me to grasp. Like I never really felt like I couldn't figure something out when it comes to it. And I really like the whole problem solving aspect of it. And I also thought it was really cool that like coding is one of the few things you can do where you can create something from nothing. I mean, if you have a laptop, like you can create a multi-million-dollar company and not do any, I mean, besides time, like nothing else you can really do. Like you want to build a house, you got to go buy the materials to build a house and all that. But when you get to software, like a laptop's all you need. I mean, you can create anything from the next eBay to, a Flappy Bird game for free. It's just however much effort and time you want to put into it.
You mentioned the problem solving thing, and something that I've found that you're really good at is so Joe in our friend group, first, some people hate in this podcast when I will like talk to the audience and say Joe when I'm talking to you. Yeah. I go back and forth, dude. If you don't like it, I don't know Joe is the guy that all of our friends go to and they're like, they need something done of like, hey, I need this specific edit in this thing. I need this like special effect. And I remember something that you said. I wanted to like Superman off of like the sand when we were on vacation and land somewhere else. And you had never done that. But Joe, you were like, I can do it because you told me, you're like, well, I don't really know how to do it. I understand, like, I know what, like, you want to go from this point to that point. I can, like, how does your brain work of, like, breaking down how something needs to happen even though you've never done it? Maybe that's why you like coding so much, because you understand, like, I need to get from A to B. I just need to logically think about what needs to happen to get A to B, even if I don't know how it works.
I don't know. It's just my brain works.
You're just, like, really smart?
Yeah. Sometimes I'll be cleaning up
at
school, and I see an equation on a blackboard, and I just solve it.
And my best friend is Ben Affleck.
Yeah, anyways.
Okay, so why don't, for the people, this is going to be really good. Mm-hmm. I have a website.
Yep.
And I want, when I click a button,
yep,
I want a little ball to come out of the button.
Okay.
And bounce onto the other button.
Okay.
And then roll off that and fall off the website.
Yeah.
How would you code that?
Well, okay. Nowadays, you could almost do all of that in CSS. So you could almost get away with, yes, global offensive. You could almost do all of that in CSS, but a long time ago, like when there was a lot of JavaScript, honestly, and a lot of like static stuff. So you had to actually tell the ball, like on the event when you click the button, you had to actually tell the ball, like, all right.
I want you to break it down. Like,
I'm not going to code in the air. Like,
I want you to be like, okay, like, would you find an image of? Do you code the ball?
No,
do you find
it'd be a CSS?
I don't know what that means. I'm a golden doodle. You're explaining this to me.
All right, look. So when you get to like web, let's just go with web development in this case, right? Like HTML is the building blocks, and then CSS is what makes it look how it does. It's the paint and shit on top. So the framing is the HTML, and the CSS is all the colors and wallpaper and all that shit.
Okay.
So you could take a block of HTML, like a little square, and then CSS, I could make it into a ball, right? And then I can position it and move it where I want it to move. So I can make it move. Now there's libraries to do all this. So you could use something like Framer Motion or Springs or whatever, and you could actually tell that ball to interact with the button and have gravity and actually like simulate what that would be like.
I'm already bored of what you're saying.
Yeah.
But okay, so if you were to do it the old school way, like how do you code something to like tell it to do something?
You just do it. I don't know how to answer that. I mean, it's event driven, right? So on the button click, you can do something. So you would start it on that point.
So that's in the code. It's like if button press,
not
then
exactly, but
ball.
yes, technically. Like on that element, like you can give that element a name. So that button's called click me. On click me clicked, do something. So at that point, okay, show the ball, animate it in, actually show it coming out of the button.
I feel like you know how everything works, Joe.
I try. I watch a lot of how it's made.
Okay, I have a question. This is okay. So motherboards, those little green boards, are those motherboards, right? Yeah. And there's always things soldered on there.
Yeah.
How do they tell like what the thing is on the board, what it's to do? Like people are like making the motherboards, but I'm like, how do you tell it what to do?
It's black magic.
What?
I don't know. I mean, at the end of it, it's all ones and zeros, right? Like, I know everyone says that, but it really is. I mean, most of what you're seeing on that board is like transistors and resistors and stuff. So they're altering that flow of ones and zeros, and that's telling other stuff what to do. But the actual low level, like, I have no clue. There's, like I said, I think I'm the best software developer that I know, but there's people out there that are fucking insane. Like, you have like the low level engineers that can actually write code to run on that chip. Like, I can't do that.
Can you hack? Could you get into like my email address?
Socially, yeah.
What do you mean?
Like I could probably get in from talking to you. 99% of like the hacking that people talk about is social engineering. If I talk to you long enough and I know stuff about you, I can get you to give me your password without actually doing it. I suck at that, but there's people that are really good at that. It's not, most of the time, it's not like some dude in a closet just sitting there hacking away and like, getting into the mainframe and beep booping and hitting a button and getting all the data. It's usually literally they logged in with your account because you gave them your damn account. You clicked on the wrong link in your email, or your password is I love dude or something like that. That's most of the hacking.
I'm going to change my password now.
It's not as cool as you think it would be.
So what's the you've been coding for a long time. What's the largest monetary project you've ever done? Like what's the biggest payout you've gotten from a project with Nerd World? I feel like there's gonna be some people who code that are gonna be mad that I'm calling them nerds. I just call Joe a nerd.
Yeah, no, I'm cool with it. That's a tough one because I have some stuff that like is a monthly thing too. So I built like this affiliate app that I make money on every month, right? So like that's probably the most over time because I'm making like, let's call it $7-8 grand a month every month coming in. That's just coming in off of that. Like one time check, I think there was a website that did it for like 50 grand.
$50,000 to build a website?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And do you charge on is it
usually
like
50 up front, 50 at the end? So that one's 25,000 to start and then 25,000 on the end. And it was a big, that was a big, it wasn't like a Shopify site. It was like a full website marketing site with like an app on the back end that was tracking a bunch of stuff for them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you say everything is just ones and zeros. That sounds like the blockchain.
I don't want to get into that.
Well, I want to dive a little bit.
I know nothing about it. I stay the hell out of that.
Do you know what a blockchain is? Because Shawley's answer of what is a blockchain was it's on the blockchain. Can you explain?
I really can't.
That's okay to know.
I stay really far away from the whole, like I didn't put any money into crypto. I stay the hell out of crypto. I watch a lot of people make a lot of money and I watch a lot of people lose.
But you understand Bitcoin.
I like a low level.
You explained to me one time what Bitcoin mining, like what it is. And it turns out it's not people in a cave that like they don't come out and say like, I think I got the black lung pop.
No.
Explain.
To my understanding, Bitcoin mining is people willing to pay you Bitcoin for resources.
You're saying, no, there was something about like computers and solving equations.
Well, so a lot of like now, like if I'm a company, I need a bunch of resources to figure out an equation or figure out something, some kind of rendering or whatever. Sorry.
No, explain it as if I'm a golden doodle, Joe.
Yeah, I'm saying so I could pay you a very, very small amount of Bitcoin in exchange to borrow your computer's resources, right? So you have this little Raspberry Pi set up. So I can pay you a little bit.
Raspberry Pi?
Sorry, it's like a little chip you can buy and have it do whatever you want.
Everyone listening
like a tiny
is now
little computer.
Dumber.
Yeah, I know. Shit.
Explain what Bitcoin mining is.
It's being paid small amounts of Bitcoin for completing tasks, but
what is Bitcoin, Joe?
What do you mean? It's like a digital currency,
and then you can mine it.
Yeah, but
for solving problems.
Yeah, or using your resources or whatever. So I could say, hey, I'm going to borrow your computer for 3 hours a day, and in exchange for that, I'm going to give you a very small piece of Bitcoin to pay you for that service.
What are you doing on my laptop?
Don't worry about it. You don't need to know. I just need the resources on that laptop. I have something that's huge I got to take care of, like rendering, and I need as much CPU power as I can get. So I'll give you a very small amount to borrow those resources. Again, I may be completely wrong on that. Like, that's my understanding. It's not, I think a lot of people think like, oh, like it's like World of Warcraft. Like I'm going to go mine some, no.
That's not what it is?
It's not that. You can't mine it.
So it turns out Joe doesn't know everything.
I don't. I stay like, you get into like NFTs? Nah.
What's your opinion on NFTs?
Nah.
Nah?
Nah.
Mm-mm. No?
Nah.
So you saw the hype of them?
I did, yeah.
Why aren't you a fan of them?
It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think eventually it will.
I think they're kind of on the down.
I think once you get to the point where like you play Fortnite, when you buy your NFT and now you can apply it as a skin, right? We've had NFTs for a very long time in the form of like purchasable items in games.
Right.
So like in CSGO and Counter-Strike, there's these items. There's people pay $10,000 for a knife skin, right? And it's like maybe there's 2 of them in existence. Basically an NFT before an NFT was a thing. I think once NFTs are like accepted everywhere, then maybe they have a chance. But at the moment when everyone's like, you're going to buy this and use it, but you can only use it in my game. Like, what if I don't play your game? Like, if I buy $1 million, real life $1 million for your yacht in Roblox, and Roblox doesn't take off, or I want to play Minecraft, now I have $1 million yacht. I can't even, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That's where I'm like, I don't understand why people want, it's like, oh, buy this NFT of this car and you can use it in our game. Like, your game sucks. Why do I want this car?
So I guess so I've spent probably well over $1,000 or $2,000 in Fortnite.
Yeah.
Buying different skins. Those are essentially little
kind of
NFTs,
right? Like the more the rare the skin is. I think the only thing with an NFT is like you're the only one that has that NFT. You can prove that. Where like in Fortnite, there's maybe, but there's probably still rarer skins than others. There's probably a skin you see in Fortnite where like, holy shit, how'd that guy get that skin?
Right.
I mean,
so maybe NFTs would be like, oh, this is a skin that guy only has that.
That's
one
where they're
skin.
headed, I think. I think that was the idea behind it, was like in their digital life. But I think we jumped the gun, right? Like the metaverse and Zuckerberg and all that. I think they jumped it. They like hyped the shit out of it. And now we're a couple years in and like nothing's really come out of it. Like we're not hanging out with our friends in the metaverse.
Do you think we're ever going to hang out in the metaverse?
We're not.
We're not?
Man, you know.
What do you
hang out in real life?
Do you think
people will?
You think the future is going to go in?
Yeah, 100%. People are stupid, dude. People are idiots.
To be honest, I don't want there to be a metaverse until it is exactly like Ready Player One.
You know, Ready Player 2 is coming out.
What?
They're doing it. Yep. I
That's
don't know if that's gonna be
sick.
the name of it, but they're doing a sequel. Yeah. I agree. I think it needs to be on that level of like coolness. But again, people are pretty stupid. People like to put their heads in the dirt. And in reality, like no one wants to accept reality. And I think if you gave someone the option to like, hey, you can make minimum wage in the real world, but when you get home and all weekend you can live like a king with all of your friends because you have the most money in this metaverse world, I think people would be down with that. Like I think people would rather be like living a shit. I think Ready Player One hit it right on the head.
Because it's like they live in like
I think it's better
destroyed
for them.
society, but they're like, I
think people would trade that immediately because I don't think people don't like what they do for a living. They don't like the way they look in real life. They use filters and everything else. The metaverse is like the most epic version of that. Like you can look like a completely different person. You can live out, be any gender and everything you want in the metaverse. No one's going to stop you. So I think we will head that direction. Like I think we will end up in a point where that's more important than real life is for some people.
But there's one thing you can't do in the metaverse, Joe, and that's drive some really cool cars.
That is true.
Which is what you're a big car guy.
Big car guy.
Why are you a big car guy?
I've always been a big car guy. When I was little, I was just little Hot Wheels. I had probably 1,000 Hot Wheels cars, had Lego cars.
You didn't have 1,000 Hot Wheels.
I might actually. I'm not messing with you.
That's
I
too
might
many
have
Hot
1,000.
Wheels.
I know. I had a lot. You know, in anything car wise, I used to watch Fast and Furious like every weekend. Gone to 60 Seconds. That was on repeat. I don't know why. I've just always been into cars. Anything cars. Really anything with a motor. Motorcycles, boats, anything really.
But you're not like a big like mechanic wrenching on cars. You just physically like owning cars.
Yeah, I like driving cars.
Like for me, like I'm really into Jeeps because I've built them. Like
I've done some stuff to cars, but I'm not like a mechanic. I think the most crazy thing was probably helping with your Jeep. And then like I worked on a Corvette a long time ago. Like we like swapped out the top end and everything. But yeah, I'm not really big into like working on the cars. Not a big manual labor kind of guy, but I do enjoy like driving the cars and having fun with the cars and filming the cars.
You've had more cars than I think. You know, we used to give Christian crap all the time.
I started that. When I met Christian, he was a normal dude. When I met Christian, he had a 370Z. And he didn't even want, that's a cool car, but he didn't even want a car.
I almost bought that car from him.
Really?
Yeah, he was going to sell it, and I was like, that was like my dream car at the time.
Yeah.
And then I came to my senses and got a Jeep. We're going to continue my Jeep world.
Yeah. But I think I talked him into, he bought an i8. He bought a BMW i8, and I made so much fun of him every day because that is the lamest car in history.
I think it was cool when it came out.
It wasn't.
Why?
It's so slow and stupid.
What's slow to you?
Dude, I think it was like a 5 seconds. It wasn't remotely fast. Like it wasn't even, I think an M4 was faster than that. Like it wasn't even remotely you can buy one now for like 40 grand. So that should tell you where that, yeah.
So a good car needs to be fast.
It doesn't have to be fast, but the i8's just not it. Like that was, it wasn't it. So I made fun of him every day.
Every day.
And then he sold it and got a Lamborghini.
Then you stopped making fun of him.
Yeah, at that point we're like, now you're good.
And so Christian used to buy and get rid of cars all the time. And I think you've actually gone through more cars than Christian.
Yeah.
And now Shawley is getting on the train of...
Shawley's going hard right now.
Shawley's
got me beat right now. His current collection is cooler than mine, but mine will be cooler than his soon.
I'm pretty sure Shawley's car collection in his driveways, he's spent more on the cars than the house that the cars are parked at.
100%.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Seems backwards in my head.
Some people are like that.
I'm sure there's mansion.
You'd be surprised. We go to these car shows in Houston. You'd be surprised how many of these guys like live in very average houses that have $1 million cars. Like the guys that show up in Lamborghinis at these car shows live in some of them live in like $200,000, $300,000 houses and will have $500,000 cars.
What?
It's part of it. I've met a lot of guys where like we meet them at car shows, and I'm assuming I'm going to walk up to like a 10,000 square foot house, and like they'll live in a very average house. And I'm
Why
like,
is that? Why do you think that is?
I mean, some people just don't care. I mean, if you're really into cars and you really want a Lamborghini, like maybe you don't want to live in the nicest house. I feel that. I don't have to have a giant multi-million-dollar house, but I would like a $1 million car collection.
Why?
Why not?
But so why do you? So you're so into like buying? Walk me through like the whole buying and selling car thing, because I can't wrap my head around it. Because like for me, when it's time to buy a new car, it's because a new version has come out, or I'm at a different point, or my car is broken down. You just cycle through these cars when you've had them for months.
I like to try different things. See what's good, right? Like I could get hit by a bus tomorrow and then I'm not driving anything. So why not enjoy life a little bit and see what's out there?
I don't know if that's financially responsible.
No, it's not at all. No, but I will say if you look at my car collection, at first, money pit. But now I've strategically been buying cars that go up in value. So like recently all the cars I'm buying are worth more when I sell them than when I buy them. So I'm making money on all these cars at this point. I mean, one or two. But
see, I have a pickle with that, Joe.
Why?
I think it's like when someone's like, what are you doing? They're like, I invest in real estate. You had this picture in their head where like they're like doing crazy well, when in reality, like maybe they're not, right?
No.
People like to perceive that it's like everything's like going great. Like I think if you were to, on a overall picture of loss and gain on your cars, there's no way you're in the plus.
No, not overall. But recently, like in the last 6, all of them are.
So you don't talk about the losses, even though the losses
we
are.
have lost. Yeah, no one should try to buy cars to make money on them. You can't do it unless you have a dealer license and you own a body shop. You're not making money on cars.
Because people talk about like, I just bought this and I sold it and I made a bunch of money, but they're not mentioning the even more money they've lost.
No, and I think people also forget that like you pay taxes and you pay interest on the loan you took and everything else. I have people all the time like, I bought it for $200 and I sold it for $200, so it's a free car. And I'm like, well, no, you still paid probably $10,000 in taxes, another $15,000 in interest and everything else. Like you still lost $25,000 here.
Buying a car is actually the most annoying process in the entire world,
sucks.
and it takes hours and hours.
I just bought a Tesla, which you've seen.
Yeah.
Hopefully that video goes live before this goes live. But that is a completely different experience because they don't have a dealer's license. They cannot have a dealership in Texas. So you order that car on your phone and it delivers to your house and you never deal with a human. I didn't talk to one single person buying that car. But there's no negotiating or anything either. But I mean, you can't do that right now anyway.
Why do you say negotiate?
Negotiating.
There's no negotiating.
You got to put emphasis on it,
Emphasis on the different syllable.
Yeah.
So you buy and sell cars and you do it a little bit because you want allocations for other cars.
Yeah, I mean, recently that's the game I've been playing, right? So I bought a bunch of Fords and now I got the Raptor R coming. And hopefully the next time a Ford GT comes out, I think I'm like top dog at this dealership now. So I'll probably be the one to get the Ford GT from that dealership. With Porsche, now I have a really good relationship, so now I'm getting these really hard to get Porsches, like the new 3RS and all that.
How much money in car payments do you have right now?
A lot.
Because how many cars do you currently have? Like, walk me through what cars.
Right this minute, I got the Model S Plaid, the Buick. Can't forget the Buick. My grandma gave me a Buick. It's pretty dope. The GT500 and the GT3.
And how much are you paying a month to have all those cars?
A lot.
Like what? Tell me.
I
know you have.
If I gas at like
$8,000 a month.
Maybe not that much. Maybe like.
I mean, you have like 4.
Maybe like 5 or 6.
Okay, and maybe. You just.
I gotta look.
And you already have like the next couple cars you like planned out.
Yeah, but again, okay, so on that one, the GT3 right now is worth about $100,000 more than I bought it for. The GT500 is worth about $10,000 more than I bought it for. So again, I'm putting a lot of money into them, but I'm not losing. Like I'm getting all that money right back. When I sell
you're contradicting yourself because you're like, I'm gonna get all that money back, but you're probably still. No,
because they're so far over. If I bought it for $200 and sold it for $200, I'm not making any money. But like in the GT3, that car's $220. Right now, it's worth $320. That's a huge. I'm not spending $100,000 on taxes. So no matter what, I'm making money on that car.
But then you just immediately buy the next car because the new GT3 RS,
worth a lot more too. Yeah,
the new one just got announced, right?
Did, yeah, 2 days ago. Already got the order in.
Already got
the order in, dude. I have a lot of cars coming. That's the bigger thing is like the collection's cool right now, but like I'm gonna one up Shali. Like I got.
You're gonna one up Shali?
Oh yeah.
I don't think you have the cash flow to one up Shali.
I'm going to. I'll go broke trying.
Everyone can have a nice car if they want a car payment.
Yeah, that is true. You up until recently refused to take a car loan. When I first met you had to buy everything cash.
Yeah. Now I can't afford it.
Well,
honestly,
it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to put that much liquid capital into. like finance gurus on YouTube all the time, like you have to buy everything cash or you should be able to buy it 10 times over. Like, no, you shouldn't. Like, that's not
I think that maybe like you should have the funds that like you could buy it.
No.
No?
No, I can comfortably afford a $100,000 car. I cannot comfortably afford $1 million car. I don't think because I can't buy $1 million car, I shouldn't buy a $100,000 car.
My Jeep, which was like $75,000 a new one, I didn't put the entire car as a loan.
But I'm saying like if you wanted to, I guess you could, but like, so with that logic, you should be able to buy a $750,000 car to buy a $75,000 Jeep. You maybe, but like your average person buying a $75,000 Jeep cannot buy a $750,000 car. I don't like that logic. Doesn't make any sense.
So you think just if you can afford the car payment?
Yeah. I think comfortably. For the other thing too is right. Like earlier I said the whole 10%, just be like 10% of your gross income. But, and I guess technically that works out to 10 times. So shit. But, I think that even like that number depends on how much that is. So for example, I think if you're making $5,000 a month, $500 on a car payment is probably safe, or $1,000, give or take. But if you're making $1 million a month and you want to spend $500,000 on a car payment, go for it. I mean, you're making that much money. Like nothing's going to arise in your life that's going to affect that kind of flow of cash.
Okay.
That makes sense.
And you're so hardcore with like the Porsche thing. Why do you think Porsche is the best car company in the world?
Just the whole engineering side of it. So funny story, my dad almost died in a Porsche.
What?
Yeah, and it's Porsche, by the way. Someone's going to comment and get mad at you. Yeah, you don't win either way, because if you say Porsche, someone's like, oh, that's not how you pronounce it. And if you say Porsche, you're a dickhead that says Porsche.
When I went to Ibiza, I get yelled at when I'm there because they're like, no, it's Ibiza.
Yeah.
But when I'm here and I say Ibiza, people are like, you sound like an idiot. It's
yeah, you're like the smug asshole that says everything right.
You
so
can't
either
win.
way. Yeah, no, my dad I think he might actually have died for a minute. He flipped a 911 when I was like a kid or like middle school or something. Got ejected out of the car, and yeah, I mean, you wouldn't know if you saw him now, but like they told us he was dead. I mean, they pulled me out of middle school.
I wouldn't know because he's alive.
Yes, they pulled me out of middle school and literally told me like, hey, we don't think he's gonna make it. Like, you got to come to the hospital right now.
How did he flip the car?
Yeah, I think he was street racing my uncle.
Okay.
And I guess he lost control, flipped, and yeah. So they life flighted him out, and then they say he wasn't gonna walk, and he was. Anyway, somehow or another, fast forward, now the 911 is like my ultimate dream car. And actually, when I bought my first Porsche, my dad was a little bit like iffy about getting into it because of that. But I don't know. I'm not saying like that's why I'm into them, but like that happened with the Porsche. You would think I would hate that brand, but now I've like kind of grown to.
You think Porsche is the best car company in the entire world?
I think when it comes to engineering and stuff, yeah, 100%. I think they do things better than any other brand. I think when it comes to like the way that they're put together and the way they work and stuff, like if you look at a 911, the engine's in the back, that shouldn't work. On paper, that's the worst idea ever, right? You want a mid-engine, not a rear engine. The fact that they were able to take that and make it potentially the best handling car in the world, like, yeah, that's pretty.
Am I just like a small-minded dumb idiot to like, couldn't other car companies just be like, okay, I'm going to look at the Porsche and we can do that on ours?
They do. I think there's a lot of technology that gets stolen from
Porsche?
I think Porsche is a pioneer of a lot of things, but they're also, I mean, they're owned by VW. A lot of their parts are VW, and VW is Hitler's brand. So, that's a true story. Look it up.
I know. I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. So like Jeep, for example, which is the best car company in the world.
Chrysler.
Each generation, the Jeeps look different each generation. Joe, the GT3.
Yeah,
it looks the new one that just got announced looks the freaking same as they've always looked.
They don't. It looks completely different.
It just has more hood vents on it.
It does have that too. No, it's completely different. But you're right. But
do you think they're keeping the iconic, or do you think it's classy that they're keeping it so true to themselves, or Porsche is afraid to evolve and make the car look different? Well, I'm going to put on the screen the Porsche GT3 from forever ago, and the new one. It looks the same.
Okay, hold up. Why don't you, at the same time, put the Wrangler from a long time ago up and put the new Wrangler up? They're identical.
You think
the Jeep Wrangler has not changed at all in the last 20 years?
You think a Willy?
No, but let's say 20 years.
The Jeep TJ and the new JL,
they're the same.
No,
there's just as much of a difference as there's the 911. And because of that, look at the resale value though. Wranglers hold value better than anything else. 911s hold value better than anything else.
I don't think Wranglers hold value.
Yeah, they really do. Go try to buy like a 2-year-old Wrangler and it's like the same price as a brand new one. But because they're keeping that right, I think if you get something perfect, you just iterate on it. You don't have to completely rewrite the whole book every year. Where then you have these companies that do that. McLaren's terrible about that. Like every 3 years, they'll completely come out with this new thing and the old one sucks, and then the resale just falls off a cliff.
You said McLarens are trash.
They are trash. I've only had issues with them.
Everyone, I mean, even like, the top G, Andrew Tate, has said like, you get a McLaren, you understand that like shit's going to break on it.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not a big company. It's like a little, compared to other companies.
How can you be such a prestigious company when like your parts break?
They're a racing company. I mean, they're famous for being a race car company. Like they were, F1 and they've raced for a long time. They didn't start making production cars until like mid 2000s outside of the F1.
Right.
So I mean, really, if you look at it that way, like they're really like in their infancy when it comes to making production cars, and because of that, they just have some issues. They haven't figured everything out yet. They've only been making production cars for like 10 years.
So just certain companies you get like, so what's an average car brand company that you're like, I wouldn't buy that brand because it's garbage, they break, like trash,
cheap.
Okay.
McLaren. McLaren's the only one I can think of.
I guess the point I'm trying to make is like, so when you're in a high end, it's like it's accepted that your cars.
Well, okay, but McLaren is still McLaren, right? So Lamborghini used to be trash.
What?
But then Audi bought them. So now they're great because now it's all Audi's technology and shit. Like Audi brought all of that reliability to the table. So now it's fine. Ferrari's not the greatest when it comes to reliability and stuff. They're still kind of.
But Porsche, you would just.
Porsche's a VW.
You would just suck off Porsche.
And a VW is the most reliable car in the world. So I mean, yeah.
Didn't VW go through like an entire, like, wasn't there something with
Dieselgate?
They lied to the people about the emissions of it, but they knew about it. Like they were doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
But people just forget about that?
No, they got in a lot of trouble. They had to pay a lot of money. It was like a multi-billion-dollar lawsuit.
They were lying about their emissions, saying that
their diesels were like clean diesels, and it turned out they weren't. It turns out like the smug little assholes that were driving their like hybrids and like telling everyone to suck it were like polluting worse than like the F-250 with like the black smoke coming out of it.
And then they were just like, we're sorry.
Pretty much, yeah, literally.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Huh. What do you think about the transition into EV? Because I just saw the other day, I think it was yesterday, Dodge.
Yeah,
Dodge.
No more Hellcats and.
No. They're getting rid of their Challenger and their Charger. They're retiring it, and now they're coming out with just the electric new SRT.
And it looks sick. It looks really good.
It's like the Charger and Challenger kind of banged each other.
Well, the Charger used to be that. The Charger used to be a 2-door, and then they came out the 4-door. It's real confusing, but the old Chargers were 2-doors, so I think they're going back to that now.
Do you think everyone's going to go to electric?
Yeah, 100%. Way more efficient. But okay, at the same time though, like my house gets electricity from a coal power plant that is polluting way more than my Mustang does. So like I don't understand these people who are like, oh, I drive EV, I'm saving the world. Like, no, you're not. It's probably the same, equally bad for the planet for me to charge my Tesla than it is for me to fill up that Mustang.
I think people, I don't know this information, I don't know this data, but people are like, well, like the plant that mines the batteries to clean to make the car have clean air are polluting more. Yeah. Do you think these are like headlines that like, what if it's not actually as extreme? I don't know.
I think BP is like trying to.
No, I
Shell's like, let's put this headline out there. No, I think it's real. I mean, we know that batteries don't decompose in a junkyard. I think over the lifespan of the car, my Tesla is worse for the environment than my Mustang is.
But you think
but people don't want to accept that.
You think where gas is going away?
I think so, but the other problem is, right, it's like so much cheaper. Well, like electricity, as we use more of it and it's harder to get, it's going to go up in price. So like we're going to get to the point where like charging your Tesla may end up being $40 to charge it. And now all of a sudden I'm right back to where I was with gas. So I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll find out. I am enjoying the Tesla. I do love driving the Tesla, but I don't think I want to give up the gas yet. Do
you think they'll get to a point where they'll master, because on that new SRT, they had this kind of angry vacuum sounding engine noise.
I think just get rid of the sounds. I don't like this whole, like, we're going to add a fake engine sound. Like, if it doesn't have an engine, I don't want to hear, because it's fake. What am I hearing? Yeah,
but do you think that people are going to be so pissed that because there's when we drive under underpasses in your Porsche, what do, Joe?
I hit it so I can hear it.
He hits it. You hit it so you can hear it, and it rev it, and you love that sound.
Yeah, it's epic. But the electric doesn't have that. I don't want to hear the fake one. If it's fake, it's like
can't
when
they replicate it?
Girls play tennis. That's fake noise. I don't need to make that noise. It's fabricated. Everyone knows that. No, but I don't think if the engine doesn't make noise, don't make it make noise.
I think they should make it make noise.
That's weird. Because it's not going to sound the same. It's going to sound like it's coming through a speaker. It's not. It doesn't.
You don't think they can get to the technology that they can make it sound like an engine?
Even if they do, I don't think the engine noise is a product of like. I don't think that humans were like, we only like cars that make good engine noise. Or maybe some of us do, but like the engine noise is there because the engine has to process gasoline and it's making noise. I don't know why you would add that in fake.
Well, they had to add just noise to the electric cars so that people with hearing impairments specifically, right? So they could hear.
I mean, just anyone.
Yeah. So, like anyone. So I mean, if you have to put a noise, why wouldn't you want to make it like? It's kind of like it's kind of like, hey, I don't want to eat meat, but I want I want the chicken tenders.
Okay, but I don't like that.
I want chicken tenders that look like meat, taste like meat, but isn't meat.
That's a crazy proposition to me too. I'm cool with burgers. I saw this the other day and I actually got into it with somebody. I'm cool with like Impossible Meat burgers because you want a burger. I'm totally cool with. But the other day I saw Impossible Meat beef jerky. I'm like, by definition, you don't want beef. Why do you want fake beef jerky? This makes no sense. It's like you're not, like beef jerky is beef. That's literally what it's made of. It's not like you're faking it into something else. It's literally a piece of beef. I'm like, why do you want a fake beef jerky if you don't like beef? People are weird. And taste terrible. Don't eat that shit. It's bad for you.
So you think EV is the future?
It is for sure, yeah. All the manufacturers have kind of agreed. And Porsche said, I think by 2030, they'll be full electric. So I think in the next 10 years, everything's electric.
Do you think the value of cars are going to, do you think it's one of these things that like, oh my God, you still have
no, there's too
fuel injected
There's
engine?
too many. No, there's way too many cars. When they talked about the Challenger discontinuing all these things, there's so many comments like, I'm gonna go get one right now. Like I'm gonna go buy them and they're 30% interest rates and taking out loans because like I'm gonna make money on this thing. Like I'm willing to pay a lot now because they're gonna discontinue them. Dude, it's not like a Lamborghini where there's 200 of them. There's like 100,000 Challengers out there. Like it's not gonna go.
And even if the whole world transitions to electric, which I think realistically is going to happen, I wonder what the actual phase out it would be because like the gasoline cars, like it's going to be minimum another, like our entire lifetime, there's still going to be gas.
Yeah, it won't be out. You got to remember too, like a lot of let's just say the US, low income, not in a bad way. I'm just saying like they can't, like electric cars aren't cheap. Electric cars, I mean, the cheapest electric cars are $40,000 cars.
Isn't our boy Elon, isn't his whole thing, he wants to come out with a car that's like,
I mean, maybe, but
grand
right now the cheapest electric cars are still in the mid 30s. I mean, we're talking about, there's a decent amount of people that don't have access to internet in the United States.
And
live in an area.
You need a car like a Hyundai for
a what?
Like 17 grand, right?
Yeah,
18 grand.
Or you can buy a lot of people buy used. You can buy a used Camry for $4,000 and get to work and stuff. It's really hard to be like, oh, you're going to buy a $40,000 electric vehicle. And what if you live in a rural area, you have no internet, and you live 100 miles from the nearest place? Like you're not going to go electric for a long time.
That's the problem with electric is like until they become like gas stations and can charge like gas stations of I need to pull in 5-10 minutes, I'm running and get snacks, I'm come out.
We don't have the infrastructure. I've noticed since I have the Tesla, like I'm late to the Tesla party. The Tesla party is popping off. Everybody has a Tesla now. I see more Teslas than really anything else. In Sugar Land, I see 5 Teslas every time I go anywhere. Well, now the chargers are backed up. Like there's one supercharger in Sugar Land, and when I go, there's a line. Like you're waiting to get on a charger because there was 10 chargers, but there's only 10 people in Sugar Land with Teslas, so it's fine. Now there's 500 Teslas, and there's still only 10 chargers, so now there's like a backup here.
I've seen videos like that in California where you have to wait for 45 minutes to charge your car.
The infrastructure is not there. Like they tell you like, oh, you could drive across the country if you want. They don't tell you that like there's only 5 chargers at each charging location, and there's 20 cars waiting to charge. So like your 5-hour road trip is now a 20-hour road trip because you have to sit there and wait.
The future is going to be weird, Joe.
It's not a fun play. I don't like the future.
And with all the cars you buy, most of the money that you've made to buy these cars have been from coding, right? But you do have other businesses that some of you've started, some you've ended.
Yeah.
Can you kind of break down the other ventures that you've done?
Well, successfully, the whole real estate thing worked out for us. We were in the same building together. I did Fuel Force, but
what is that?
That was my merch for my YouTube channel. Was the idea that it was gonna be like this automotive focused apparel company. Well, I mean, maybe we just get into YouTube in general. I never wanted YouTube to be like a living for me. I never wanted to feel like I had to make a YouTube video. So when I kind of was like, I'm done with YouTube for now. And like at this point, people give me shit because like I'm doing one video every 2 months right now.
Yeah.
I felt really bad about like, I'm not going to drop new merch. If I'm making one video every month, I can't in that video be like, go buy my merch. So like that's kind of shitty. So I'm just like, at the moment, Fuel Force is dead until I figure out what I want to do with YouTube.
So you kind of started that and you gave up on it.
Yeah, but it wasn't because it wasn't doing well or anything. Like I would sell out every time I would launch a new design. I just felt bad as I stopped doing YouTube. It's kind of like I can't have a merch company for a YouTube channel that's not doing anything.
Right.
So it wasn't that I shut down Fuel Force. It was that I kind of shut down my YouTube channel, and that's kind of a byproduct of that.
Why don't you put the effort into YouTube? Like because you're surrounded. You know, I wanted to get into the topics of like, you know, how Houston has become this hub for fitness. You know, Joe's not a fit. You can clearly see Joe's not a fitness guy. And we are going to go bench Joe after this episode. Joe's going to try to max out on 135. But with all of these influencers around. I mean, you're seeing literal social media, YouTube millionaires everywhere, Joe.
Right.
Wait.
Okay, go.
Around.
Yeah.
And you've been surrounded by them for years and years and years and years. Mm-hmm. You're self-proclaimed the best video editor of all time.
I don't know of all time, but yeah.
So like, why when you see the money that people are making, and maybe even you joked about me making mac and cheese and making money, like that could be you, Joe. You could be making money eating mac and cheese.
It could. I think my issue is I was already making money when I started getting to YouTube. I've never made money on YouTube that I needed to make on YouTube, so it never became like, oh, I have to do this. And I think I will say you're the exception. Like, I'm not going to throw shade at you.
Go ahead, dude. Talk shit about me.
No. But you're one of the very few people that I see on YouTube that enjoys making, like, you're the only person I know that enjoys making YouTube videos. Like, you actually get fucking stoked about it. Most people that we're around don't. I mean, if I could tell everybody, they're making videos. I think you have like 3 groups here, right? Like, you're either clout chasing.
Yeah.
You haven't made it on YouTube yet, but since everyone else has a YouTube channel and you hate your job and actually you just want to do something else, you're starting your YouTube channel. Or you're stuck making YouTube channels because your living and your monthly expenses and maybe your companies are feeding off of that and you can't stop. Like, if you don't make a YouTube channel, your company's not going to make sales, so you have to make that YouTube channel. And I think that's what always scared me, was like, I don't want to get to the point where like I have to make a video to pay bills, because at that point I'm no longer a content creator. I'm just turning out bullshit to try to get people to click on it. And then I think the third category where I would like to put myself is like, I enjoy doing content creation. I want to make a video and I want to make it badass because I want to make a badass video, not because I need to. Like, I want to go out and like, I have an idea for this video with the Mustang, right? It was like a 10-day, I filmed it and all that. And I'm excited to release that. I never wanted to be like, oh, it's Wednesday, I have a video due on Thursday. Like, I have to get the ad approved and now I got to go film. And now I'm going to film me going to fucking CVS and I'm going to pull a topic out of my ass and try to put that video out there. But again, you are one of the few people that I don't think, like, you could quit tomorrow. You don't really care, but you actually do enjoy doing it. But majority of the people that I talk to, like, they don't like doing it. Not all of them, but a lot of our friends that do YouTube don't want to do YouTube anymore. They're just forced into it.
But you're kind of getting into this conundrum because you're almost like, your content is some of the best content that I've seen. You're like, whether it be the level of editing, the quality, you make great YouTube videos. I get excited. Like, I watch all our friends' stuff, but out of everyone, like, when you upload a video, I'm like, stop what I'm doing, watch a Joe video, because it's going to be good. Like, everything, because I'm not even that into stupid Porsches and stuff, right? Like, you know, but like, I enjoy the videos you make because like, you make them interesting. Regardless of you're into cars, you make good content.
Because I want to make good content.
Right. But don't you think you're doing a disservice to like the amount of effort you put into your videos and the level that you want the videos to come out to? So you're like, oh, I'm going to go far and few between. So when you launch them and then you're like, oh, you know, because it's not my full-time thing, I'm not going to do it that often, because it's not like, I'm not making crazy money from it. But you're not making crazy money from it because you're not as consistent, and you're not like letting people see the quality of your work as much as you could because you're not uploading as frequently. So it's like this vicious circle.
I mean, yeah, maybe. I think also like a big part of it is like, everyone has a YouTube channel now. Like, I don't want to do it if everyone else is doing it. I'm like, we're at the point like in our society right now where everyone, like my little cousins and stuff,
you don't like doing stuff that is like popular.
Channel. Yeah, because again, I never wanted to be in a position where I had to make a YouTube video where it's like, oh, this is a job. As soon as it turned into a job, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. So, and it did. For a while, I was like, when we lived together, there was a time where I was doing like 1 to 2 videos a week for a very brief period of time. And it did get to the point where I'm like, I'm filming myself go to the grocery store and stuff. And I'm like, this is no longer the content I wanted to make. I'm just doing it because I agreed to this company's check. Now I have to do this video because they think I'm going to give them a video on Friday. So now I'm filming complete bullshit. Then I got to try to pull a clickbait title out of my ass to try to get people to watch this video. And I'm like, at that point, like, why am I doing it? Like, I don't need the money. So why am I doing this if I'm not enjoying doing it? Like,
So you don't like being tied down by the man of YouTube.
The man. He's a bad guy. Also, I feel like sometimes I can't say what I want to say on YouTube. I can't say what I want to say now because this is on YouTube. I don't like that. I don't like the whole, like, I have to fit within these bounds.
You feel like you don't be chained down.
Yeah.
If everyone started coding, would you stop coding?
Maybe. Honestly, maybe. I mean, dude, the social media thing is insane. You had somebody ask you when I was with you, and I actually had somebody separate at Lifetime ask me, you know, hey, I'm really bad on camera. I don't know how to edit. I don't like talking to the camera. I don't like being like out there. Can you teach me how to like, how should I go about like getting big on YouTube? like, well, maybe don't do it. That's a crazy shot out of a cannon here. But like, if I came to you and I was like, I hate blood, I'm terrified of bones and stuff, how do I become a surgeon? Like, maybe just don't be a surgeon. Like, if I don't want to do that, I don't have to. It's like people at this point, like, they have to be YouTubers. There's no other option.
Well, I think it's because people see the ease of money people are
100%.
making, but they're not seeing the level of work that needs to go into it. However,
some of it is just like,
well, however, whatever your metric is of work, maybe it's,
OnlyFans ain't working.
OnlyFans ain't working?
No, those girls ain't working. There's no work behind that.
You don't think?
No. Not on a measurable scale. Not a chance.
Why?
It's just not, that's not a job. It's not, I mean, even content creation. I don't want to get down that role, but like it annoys me. And again, it's just what sells. But like Matt Como, our friend, makes epic videos, epic videos. Yeah. And they release them and it does really well. And then some chick on like her balcony will like bounce with her ass out and be like, oopsies. And that'll get 20 times more views way faster. And like that girl has content creator in her bio and Matt has, and I want to bring him into this, but like that has, they're both content creator. Like you're not, this is not content creator. This is not work.
But
I'm not going to knock it, but it's not the same level. Like when these girls are like, oh, I'm a content creator. Like, no, you're not.
Let me play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
So if whatever your skill set is, like you're skilled at problem solving, understanding, like that's like your gift is like, I can analyze and problem solve, thus the coding, and that's like what you were gifted with in life, right? Not everyone has that same problem solving kind of skills. Let's take OnlyFans, for example. Someone's looks can be like their gift as maybe as like surface level as it is.
Yeah.
And they're using what they have, their looks to make money. You're using your problem solving ability to make money. So
again, I'm not going to knock it. I just don't think it's on the same level. I don't think they're equivalents here.
Okay.
I mean, there's been, again, I don't want to go into that whole thing, but like there's been prostitutes forever. They're making money because they're good looks or whatever. It's the same thing. Like you want to make a living, go for it. I just don't think it's the same level of like, if you're a content creator, like you create content, that's not being a content creator. In my mind, I don't think that's the same level. I don't think any OnlyFans girl is like, I had such a hard day working today. Honestly, a lot of the girls that we follow,
there's different
a lot of the girls
that of stresses and work.
A lot of the girls that we know that may or may not have OnlyFans, a lot of them when they do post like, oh, it's been such a rough day. It's like, oh, I had to go to Pilates this morning. Like I had to make a list of what I'm going to do this week. Oh my God. It's like that. You're not, this is not, you're trying to run an empire here with 40 employees and you can't find a truck to ship your candy and there's supply shortages and stuff. And like, you had to go to Pilates this morning. Like I don't equate these two things.
Okay.
These are not.
I understand your argument. I understand it. Do you think the era
But also, let me just clarify, like if I could make 50 grand a week, just like whipping my wiener out on my camera, 100% I'm in. So like I would do it.
Joe,
I can't. I'm pretty upset I can't.
I want to say something that is very true.
Yep.
No one will pay you to see your wiener.
Your mom.
You leave Deborah out of this, Joe. Mm-hmm. What do you think of the kind of the era of social media influencers now? Because you've been around since Christian, everyone like started up. You saw the building of building of an audience, building of everything. Where now it's a lot easier to gain a following.
I don't think it is. I think there's hit scenarios where people are blasting off. I think we do see like the Island Boys, like where they do one thing and then they just take off. And then you have like, we're building our channels for years and it's like, I can't break 200,000 and they hit 2 million in a night. It's like, what the hell's happening? But at the same time, like think how many more people are on it. Like every single person I went to high school with now has a YouTube channel and they're getting 10 views. I bet a quarter of the people watching this right now have YouTube channels that aren't getting any views. So I wouldn't say it's easier to get a following now. I think it's easier to go viral now, maybe.
What do you think makes someone popular on the internet? Like why do you think there's some people that can put out certain amounts of content and they take off? Then there's certain people like maybe you or me that put out whatever level of quality content that have good followings, but we never like blow up. And then there's some people that make content for a long period of time and will never get to the level that you're at or I'm at.
That's $1 million. I don't know. I think everybody thinks that. I mean, I think if there's definitely like an equation to make a good video. Like there's people who have no followings, but they'll make like a little documentary video and get millions of views. There's like definitely a way to trick the system. I haven't figured that out yet. But I mean, also though, it's like, you gotta think outside the box. You're a fitness YouTuber, but you're doing other stuff. I still see, we go work out. There's 80 people in there filming chest day, new sick chest day. I'm like, you don't think this has been done 8 million times? Like, people know how to do chest day at this point. This is not the content that's going to blow you up. I think a lot of people are just following what they've seen and they're like, oh, this is going to do it. But I'm like, now you're competing with 80,000 other kids that are all updating chest day on the same day. Like, your video is not going to shine here.
Yeah.
But I also think you did a lot longer than I have, but I think we did it at a time where it was a little bit, I think it was easier for us than it is now. I think it was easier for me to gain a following than it is for some random kid tomorrow to go buy a camera and start filming cars.
I agree.
And also, like, at least in the car scene, it took off money-wise. So, like, there's these billionaires now that have car channels. So it's like, you know, if you have your Toyota Prius and you want to show it off on YouTube, well, like, now you got these dudes that have 10 Bugattis that are vlogging. And it's like, you're not competing. You know, they can afford to pay full production teams. They may have never done YouTube ever, and they'll come out with, like, a full hour-long movie that looks like it was created because they have so much money to throw at it now. So the competition sucks. I mean, it's definitely hard. I think we're good because our followings got in and they're pretty loyal and they like us. But I think that's way harder to do now is to, like, get someone to give you the time of day.
Well, dude, I never, like, I've had stages of growth, but I mean, if I've plateaued, if I've ever plateaued, but, like, I never had a viral aspect of any of my career.
My Instagram has been 49,900 for 2 years.
49,900?
It hits a 50 every once in a while and jump back down to, like, I swear to God, I've been at the same number for 2 years
Everyone
straight.
go follow Joe Knows Best.
They'll get to 50, it'll come back down.
Yeah.
But YouTube's done pretty well. Like, my YouTube channel is still on average like 2,000 subs a month or whatever.
Do you want it to grow? Are you going to keep making YouTube videos?
I think if I made videos, it would. Like, I think I'm at a point where, like, if I wanted to grow it, I could.
See, I think that's your mindset. You have this thing of, like, I could have a really, really popular YouTube channel.
Well, like
I've just decided that I don't want to have a YouTube really popular.
I mean, maybe that's my fallback. Maybe that's like but I mean, if I post a video on average, I get like 3,000 to 4,000 subs every time.
Because Joe's the guy that's
like,
like,
if I do it, it's going to happen.
Anyone who has a big following puts out, like, let's say a car video, you're like I can make such a better video than that, but, like, but you don't.
I know. But when I do, I would say, like, even engagement wise, like, I don't have a whole lot of subs, but I consistently hit better numbers than majority. Like, I have a lot of other car guys with millions of subs and I get more views on every video than they do.
True.
So I feel like the engagement, that's where you're like, you don't have the biggest YouTube channel, but your engagement's insane. Like, you can hit 100,000 views every video.
Well, I used to.
But still, I mean, there's guys with 2 million subs that are only getting 10,000 views every video. So it's like, you know, on the surface, this guy's way bigger, but really not. Like,
and with us being in, you know, on the topic of social media, with us being in the Mecca, how is, you're from Sugarland originally? You're one of, like, you know, back where I'm from, if you didn't leave your hometown, loser.
I've been stuck here. But I made a completely new friend group. I really don't hang out with anybody I used to hang out with. I don't know anybody from, like, high school and stuff.
You hang out with me.
Like 2 people. I do, yeah.
And now, I mean, really just, why is it that you guys never, like, left this area? I mean, now there's no reason. Now you have everything here.
Yeah, family and everything else.
So since you've been here since the OG days, you've seen Houston, specifically Missouri City, Stafford, Sugarland, become the Mecca of fitness influencers. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on, like, everyone coming here and everyone trying to make it in this?
It's amusing. It's fun to watch. I say for every, like, 10 that move here, 9 end up leaving after about a 2-month period of time. It's like one will get their way in, and then the rest of them are like, oh, this didn't work out.
It's kind of like the LA for fitness.
It really
now.
is, yeah. No, I mean,
people go to LA, try to make it, and if they don't, they get out of there.
Yeah,
that's like Houston.
But I respect. I mean, dude, that takes. I'm like, I'm not gonna knock it because, like, if you told me, like, you're gonna move across the country to become a car YouTuber and pray to God it works, like, fuck that. That's terrifying. I don't want to do that. So, like, I respect you coming here to do that, but yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I would say our core friend group has stayed pretty consistent. There's been, like, 1 or 2 additions, and we're like, oh, I don't know how. Like David and Julia, like, they showed up and it was like, you're cool, you can be part of the group. Like, everyone likes y'all. But then other people show up and it's like, no, you can't hang out with us. Like, get you know, I don't know how that happens, but yeah, pretty wild. I think what Christian has built is fucking insane. So, like, now there's all kinds of stuff happening here.
You know what's interesting is I think every single person has no doubt that I feel like a lot of conversations that I have with people about maybe my success or talk to someone, it always comes back to I talk about Christian, like, hype him up, right? And I mean, I give Christian a lot of shit, but I think everyone can contribute some level of their success because of what he's done.
100%.
And that
was a big thing for me when I started my YouTube channel was I didn't do fitness. So there was a point where I was working out every day with Christian. And I actually got, like, I have a picture on my Instagram where, like, I was actually, like, getting there a little bit. And I didn't want to do it. I mean, he was like, dude, start a fitness YouTube channel, and he put him on his channel. And I'm like, that was one of the biggest things I didn't want to do was fitness because I did not want to be like a coattail, whatever it's like, ride his coattail. I didn't want people to be like, oh, Christian's the only reason that your YouTube channel made it. So that was why I did cars. And even in doing cars, I really never put Christian in the channel. I really never talked about living with Christian or anything. It was like, I really wanted to try to make a YouTube channel that wasn't reliant on the fact that I was living with a YouTuber.
Do you know how many times I have been told throughout my entire YouTube journey that my success is because Christian, and I've like associated.
You started before Christian, didn't you?
No, I started like after Christian. But everyone's like, you would be nowhere without Christian. I'm like, and I admit that, but they're like trying to use it as a diss. I'm like, no, I'm admitting it. And something, there's like the butterfly effect, but it's actually weird to think about. Like, let's say Christian never picked up a YouTube camera. What the fuck do you think everyone would be doing right now?
I know. I don't even
like.
Well, see,
do you know, like, dude. So, I mean, I guess it's with anyone. Like with anyone, even freaking if I never got dude, how many people's lives that his changed? But like, can you imagine if just like one like if Christian never decided to like kind of dream as big as he did, like, bro, he would ripple effect through the time.
Poof. I'd still be filming wedding videos.
Dang.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Be a bad time.
But I'm excited for the future of everything that we're doing. And what's next for you, man?
Honestly, really, really pushing on the software thing. So I mentioned earlier, I have an app that is making me like monthly, and that's the first time I've had.
Is it like something people can buy?
No, it's like a private. It's called Full Sail. It's a affiliate tracking program. It's
Full Sail, like the school.
But like sale, like SALE.
You about to get hit with a copyright?
No, it's two different things. But anyway, really, I'm kind of growing that, and that kind of opened my eyes to this whole like, maybe instead of building one website for a client, I'm building apps for myself and I'm selling those to clients. I think that might be kind of where I'm pushing on, because it's nice to get like a monthly check every month from people.
I mean, dude, you're kind of like the model of like, oh shit, like instead of like keep trying to grow my own social, I'm going to start a brand and use other influencers to grow my brand, because I'm going to cap out on growing my own social. So I'm going to, those people may get more popular than me, but I'm going to be profiting off of their success because they're making me money.
Pretty much.
Same kind of idea. You're like, hey, the YouTube thing, it's like for whatever reason, you kind of never went like 100% on it, but like now I'm going to create an app that all of these influencers that are making content, I'm going to sell them something that they can use in their business, and it'll make you a lot of money.
I will say I'm tempted at some point to do YouTube. Like at some point when I have like, I'm like, hey, I'm done writing software. Like I want to make like a video every week and just see what happens, just to see if I could do it. I just don't know when that's going to be. A little piece of me does want to do like full-time car/life vlog bullshit and do it in a cool way. Just haven't quite figured that one out. I don't have time right now.
I think
I do have time.
You do have time.
You're always like, well, if I did it with a full-time, you can do it. If you really want to do it, you can. I'm lazy. I'm done at the end of the day, and I'm like, I've been working all fucking week, and I just want to watch TV or something. And another thing, let me go back on the YouTube thing real quick. I don't mind when you do it. But there's something so nice about like, if I just want to grab dinner with our friends, like I just want to grab dinner with some friends and grab a drink and hang out. And like, it got to a point where like I couldn't do that. I got to dinner with friends and everyone's like, oh, don't take a sip of that yet. I got to get my vlog camera out. Like, all right, like don't take a bite yet. Let me get this shot. Like, I fucked it up. Let me refilm this. And I'm like, dude, I just want to eat food with my friends. Like, I don't want to have to film this whole fucking thing. So that's another reason where I'd never really wanted to get super into YouTube, because I just want to like enjoy life and not have to film me enjoying life. Like if I go have a good time, but I didn't show you that I had a good time, did I actually have a good time?
Yeah, but sometimes like you get excited when you get a car because you're like, I can't wait for people to see the like the creativeness I can produce because of this thing that I got.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that. Like I go do something cool. I can't wait for people to like experience this cool thing with me.
Fair enough.
Type of thing. And I think I overthink my content a lot. I think that's a big problem that you have, is that you're like, I don't want to go film the bullshit and like, just go into CVS. But bro, like,
people love CVS.
It's sustainable.
It is
to get people involved in your life.
I think
because you can't just keep buying cars.
That is true. I was never into that content, so then I never wanted to make it. Like I can honestly tell you right now, I've never watched a fucking video where someone like went to Target and I'm like, oh, I'm excited to watch. Like I always skip through that shit anyway. So then I'm like, I don't want to be the guy that does that. So that was kind of more of my like, I don't want to. But I mean, you're right. If people like you, they'll watch you do anything. And you at this point, you could go make a video where you just walk in a circle and talk for 10 minutes and you probably get 100,000 views on it.
I've never told anyone this, but one time, I wouldn't do it now. It would be a 10 out of 10. But during my peak, God, that was a good time. I almost made a video, and I was going to title it, Eating a Potato for 10 Minutes. And I was going to put the camera and I wasn't going to say anything. And I was just going to have a potato.
I bet that does
like a raw
the best
potato,
you've done.
and just the whole video is just going to eat the potato.
That sounds like a 1 million view video. And I think that's where people are like, we're overthinking it. Like that's the kind of shit that like PewDiePie will literally do that stuff and it'll get billions.
You know, I was on YouTube. I'm rambling now. I was on, those recommended random videos, and I'm trying to think up like the most crazy things for topics. I saw a video. It had 20 million views, and it was titled, "My Raccoon tries different brands of chips to see what he likes the best." And the video, he would have a plate and have like barbecue chips and baked barbecue, and he'd put it up, and he would have a narrating voice of like, oh, he's really thinking, oh no, he's he's going for the baked chip. And it was the whole video just this raccoon eating potato chips.
I would watch the shit out of that. I watch the ant videos a lot. Late at night, I'll find myself watching like Ant Kingdom videos. This guy just like puts different ants together and see what they do with each other. It's a real thing. I'm not fucking with you.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
YouTube's weird, man.
It's a crazy place. You can go from learning something to nothing immediately.
People just want entertainment, man. People want either like to escape from whether they don't always have to learn.
That's my problem. I want every video I make, there's gotta be a topic. I will not make a video if there's not, and not like a topic like I pulled something out of my ass, but like an actual, like I want to teach you something or I want to show you something. And I'm like, that's my issue is I'm not happy if I don't have one of those. So I can't make, if I don't have an idea, like there's no video.
I think it's great, but as much as it sucks, I think for sustainability and for like your own brain power, like any YouTuber that makes topic very specific videos will probably stresses even more than the stress of just like, I just have to film my life. So really whatever I do, I can film, but I still am like, oh God, what am I going to do? And you would think to be like, well, just do your normal thing and film it. I'm like, no, it's not that simple. Imagine you have to have a topic every video.
That's where I'm at. I delete videos all the time. I film, edit, and delete a video. I'll be done. Like 2 days of filming, editing, everything. Mustang video, I finished a video twice and just deleted the whole. I'll Control Alt or A and just delete the whole fucking thing. If I'm not happy with it, like I'm gonna start over.
You're an idiot.
I'm OCD, I know. And then when I release it, like no one even comments. Like I spent like 2 hours doing this like upside down effect on the Mustang.
No one cares, dude.
Cared. And I'm like,
there's so many times where I'll mask text over, and it'll take me like 25 extra minutes to this one piece of text, and not one single person.
No, but I think subliminally they're like, oh, this is part of Max's. Maybe.
Do they though?
Probably not. No one cares.
No one even noticed, dude.
No.
But I'm excited for the future, man.
Yeah. I'm
glad that we've become such good friends, and I hope you continue to put out content because, like, I'm not exaggerating when you, like, I think I've said this on a lot of my content that you are one of my favorite YouTubers to watch.
Well, I appreciate that. You're one of the only YouTubers that I watch. I watch all your videos.
You do not watch my videos.
I watch some of them. I watch occasionally.
You're a liar.
I'll click the link and I'll like Control F and type Joe and see if anyone's talking about me in the comments. You know, that's typically how it works.
And it's like 0 to 0.
Yeah. But we got to make sure this one does better than the other ones, and then we'll be good. I think we do another one and we go straight just politics and shit. Yeah, I'm actively trying to get canceled on the internet, and I just can't.
You're someone that I'm excited that I think I want to have back on multiple times, and we just talk about topics, and you like co-host a lot of episodes, dude.
I'm down. But so the people got to like it.
Leave a comment down below, guys, if you want Joe back on, because he has a lot of thoughts. He doesn't give a fuck.
You sometimes do. I've said some shit in videos where like I've pissed off some people, definitely. I've started bleeping some stuff out in my videos because I'm like, oh, I'm not supposed to say that anymore. But again, we're from a different time, dude.
Yeah.
I was allowed to say whatever I wanted. Now I can't.
People change. Times change. We're going to have you back, man. That is going to wrap up Big Number episode 14. Is there anything you want to plug? You want if people need, I mean, are you taking clients? Do you have like
No, I cannot take any more work on right now.
What is something you can
just check out the YouTube channel,
sell
dude.
yourself? Okay.
YouTube channel is where it's at. That'd be
one video a month, maybe.
No. I got another one. I got another one right after this. I'm going to pick the Tesla up right now from the shop. Got it all done up, put wheels on it.
This video is going up this Monday. Is there a video right around there?
I might have this one up on Sunday.
Probably not, but make sure you check his YouTube video out. Regardless if you're into cars, tech, whatever, Joe has one of the best YouTube channels I've seen in terms of quality.
Thank you.
Well, for the first 5 minutes, then it's about 10 minutes of him sitting in the car and talking.
Not the Mustang one. The Mustang one was through and through, dude.
It's 1 in a million right there.
There you go.
But Joe, thanks for being on, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, all of his information is going to be down below. Let's get him to 50,000 on Instagram. Go subscribe to him, and we're going to have you back. If you're on YouTube, make sure you comment down below, subscribe, like the video. If you're on any sort of podcast, streaming platform, give it a review or something. I still don't know what they do on there. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Eat more sour strips. And never forward.
Sick.
Woof. Like an hour and a half.
Shit.
That was nice, man.
Good.
Do you think you're gonna be the lowest viewed podcast?
Probably.
That's the spirit.
Probably. Just because I don't want to be. If I said, oh, I'm gonna be the lowest viewed, it would skyrocket.
What do you think I should title it?
Dude, that's a hard one, man. Because I don't know. Because if we keep it real, no one's gonna care. But if you title I think I was on Shawley's podcast and he out of nowhere we talked about OnlyFans for 2 seconds and he titled it Joe spends millions on OnlyFans, but I think he meant to say millions on cars. And yeah, it didn't. I mean, it did okay. It was middle tier.
I'm gonna title it something.
Obviously,
you're gonna be at least 9 out of 10, bro. I got a feeling.
9 out of 10.